the one thing my dad told me when I was debating coming here in the portal was it's not going to be easy. You can't take a back seat to things. You got to work hard every single day. You can't take any days off. So I really took that to heart.
This is the Sean Miller Podcast, presented by Deer Park Roofing. Now, here's your hosts, Paul Fritchner and Adam Baum, with the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers, Sean Miller.
Welcome into another episode of the Sean Miller Podcast. My name is Adam Baum, joined as always by Sean Miller, head coach of the Xavier Musketeers. And before we get to our guests, we want to thank the presenting sponsor of the Sean Miller Podcast, Deer Park Roofing, and the official payroll sponsor of the Sean Miller Podcast, Payroll Partners. And obviously the elephant in the room here is young Paul Fritchner is not hosting the show.
Yeah, I mean, the life offers different climbs, and this is one of his. You know, he's going on to bigger and greener pastures right now. So we'll,
for the time being,
we'll support him and do the best we can without him.
No, Paul's actually he got a cool opportunity to do play-by-play at the Field of 68 MTE down in Charleston, so he'll be back from that. But our guest tonight is a very special guest, a guy that we've gotten to know really well. That I'm pleased that Xavier fans are going to get to know who you are, because Roddie Anderson is an important part of this team, but he will not play in a game this year. He's going to redshirt, and we'll get into all that good stuff. But he's an Orange County guy from California. Started your college career at UC San Diego. Had an awesome freshman year. I was looking up your numbers this year, and I was just kind of like, man, this guy stormed out of the gate and played really well. And then you transferred to Boise State last year. Again, I think you started 27 games, played in 33, helped them to an at-large NCAA tournament berth, and here you are now. That's pretty cool.
No, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So maybe you could walk people through your college career so far, and ultimately what you were looking for and why you ended up here at Xavier.
Yeah, so I started at UC San Diego, really just got to play basketball, play my game, really no rules, just go out, score, facilitate. But I always thought that I was born to be like a high D1 player. So I took my talents to the portal, went to Boise State, didn't really have the opportunities to play how I usually play. It was a slower tempo offense, but it was nothing wrong with it. But I think at Boise it was huge for me because I learned how to play more of a broader game of basketball. I learned how to cut off ball. I learned how to defend, played defense against some of the toughest guards in the nation. But just rounding out my all-around game. And now I entered the portal because I really wanted to be able to play how I normally play, like how I love the game of basketball. So I came. Xavier gave me a perfect opportunity to redshirt, come in. That was what we talked about before even joining. So I thought it was a great opportunity for me just to learn how the Big East is played, but also get a whole year of playing against Big East competition at practice, but also learning the system so that next year I'm gonna be able to go right away.
Yeah, and Roddie, you know, I think a couple things. One, let's start at Boise State. You know, Coach Rice, one of, I think, college basketball's best coaches, and when you're the starting point guard and you had the role that you had on Boise State's team a year ago, you know, a lot of people forget how good the Mountain West was last year.
Yeah.
The Mountain West got 6 bids?
6.
Yeah.
6. Think about that. As one league, 6 bids to the NCAA tournament. And, you know, here we are in the Big East with the national champ in a league that we think is second to none, and we did not get 4. So, look, I say that only from the perspective of really allowing all of us to see that the competition you played against, the team that you were on, man, don't take that lightly. Making the tournament as an at-large bid, you guys had a great team, a great season, and I think what you said is so true. There's a lot of ways to develop, and I think you probably learned more in that 9-month window, what it takes to win, playing defense, playing offense. Like you said, embracing and knowing the game could be played in a lot of different styles, right?
Definitely.
And I think the growth and development that you experienced at Boise State, I know this, when you came on our radar, it was because of the way we saw you play at Boise, who we thought you could become, and obviously we know that you're a great fit for us. So I think looking at that year at Boise and the year that you just finished playing, you know, what did you learn? Let's really start to think about it. Let's go back to, like, you leave school A, right? And you're going to a new program, new coach, new staff. Obviously, you're playing in a great league. 6 at-large bids. You end up getting one of them. You guys made it as an at-large team, and it's like when you really look back on it, a couple of things that jump out about your experience would be what? What did you learn? How did you grow?
I think the biggest way I grew was just learning how to continue to play with adversity. When I came in, there was a lot of pressure and a lot of hype around my name to come and play the way I played at UC San Diego, but that's not the way it happened. The fans weren't too happy, so seeing my name and all the social media was a first for me because that didn't happen at UC San Diego. But just learning how to play when the lights are bright, learning how to play when people don't think that you can play at that level, but also just learning how to run a team. I was the focal point in the starting of the offense. So just learning how to get guys into positions, settle down, know when to push, know when to slow down, just becoming an all-around point guard, I think is the biggest thing.
You know, Adam, a big reason that we've come together is I think that from baseline to baseline, there aren't many people that are faster with the ball or without the ball. Roddie's blessed. He's got amazing talent. But his speed from baseline to baseline really stands out, and I know you've watched us practice.
Yeah.
One of the things that happens in a daily basis for us is you get to go against Davion, you get to go against Trey, you get to go against Ryan and Dante. And what I love about it for you is, man, you're pushed on an everyday basis because practice is your games this year, right? Conversely, for you to be able to play 100 miles an hour and play as hard as you can and make practice your game, which is what we've talked a lot about, you now push Davion and you push Trey and you push Dante and Ryan. So the competitive spirit and really what you want out of practices, guards down one end, bigs down the other, when Roddie's a part of it, you know, I look at it like it's like he just kind of like ignites the fire. Yeah. Because the competition is that much better. And I think when our guys get to the game, you know, part of what they've experienced in practice with Roddie being in it, he makes them more prepared and better. And conversely, look, when we practice 100, 110, 130, 40 times by the time we get to March, I think that the reps that you're getting against those guys, it's going to be fun to watch how much you grow in the next 4 or 5 months.
No, for sure. And that's something I respect about especially Davion, because when we play full court up and down and I'm picking up full, some of the other guys on the team would jokingly be like, relax, Roddie, like, it's just practice. But Davion's always told me to continue to pick him up full court, continue to pressure him, and I just think that's something that you don't see a lot.
No, he's a killer. Yeah. That's why he is who he is, right? That's how, and I know you're really trying to follow his path, because among the many things that you've done well in your college career at both places, 3-point shooting, and that's a big reason that we're redshirting, because we're heavily invested and you're heavily invested in working to become a better overall shooter, 3-point shooter, and on an everyday basis. And I think the other thing that's cool for me to watch is you've had a chance to see Davion, how he goes about his business, how he approaches his shooting pre-practice, during practice, after practice. He cuts no corners, and now you're seeing him on the other side of it. And I think that's a great path for you to follow.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the thing that I love right now, and you didn't really touch on this, you kind of did. You know, when I say that he's going to have a major impact on this team, it's all the reasons that you just said, right? Pushing guys in practice, playing hard, you know, having to deal with his speed every single day when they're playing against each other. But now what I've noticed is Roddie's the scout team point guard.
Yep.
And what happens in those instances is there's a lot of times you're working on specific things defensively. You know, this team that we're going to play, they love to do this, X, Y, and Z. And your defense has to get stops. And Roddie is not always the easiest person to stop.
Because practice is his game, and he's going 1,000 miles an hour, and he's trying to score, and he's taking no prisoners, as they say, And but you're right, and I think that's a dynamic, Adam, that's serving our team well at the moment. I think it's a win-win. I think it'll bring out the best in Roddie in terms of his development, both on the court and also in the gym, working on his game. And I know that it's going to bring out the best in certain players that are playing in games, because he's simulating the speed and the competitiveness that they're going to feel in a game.
Coach, when you're looking around in the portal and you're saying, you know, I want guys that fit our style, that, you know, that we can rely on, that we can develop. Do you remember when you stumbled upon Roddie, like what that moment was like?
Yeah, and Coach David Miller had a pre-existing relationship, and it's really an unbelievable story in that David's dad would have been an assistant coach at Utah State, where Roddie's dad, same name, Roddie Anderson, played his college basketball. And I'll let Roddie talk about his dad, but his dad is an amazing guy, but he was a great college basketball player. Larry Eustace is a coaching friend of mine, who's a friend of Roddie and his family, because Coach Eustace would have been Roddie's dad's coach. You know, they talk about Roddie as a player, his dad, how tough he was, and he was bigger than this guy right here, but he had an amazing career. So we had a connection right there that, you know, once he went in the portal, that we thought it would be a great fit, because I think the thing we are aware of is Roddie's thirst to want to be better and play at the highest level, and his speed being a good fit for our style of play.
The Sean Miller Podcast is proud to partner with Deer Park Roofing, a company that's provided elite service for homes and businesses since 1996 and leads the industry in professionalism, quality, and responsiveness. Whether your needs are residential or commercial, like the outstanding work on the Cintas Center, the home of Xavier basketball, Deer Park can handle any job and ensure it's done right. Deer Park's motto is protect what's important, and what's important to you is important to Deer Park Roofing. Visit deerparkroofing.com. Stop renting your power, own it. TGE Solar makes it easy to purchase solar panels for your home or business, so you can take control of your monthly electricity bill and start saving today. They'll help you find the best solar system to meet your needs, and their expert in-house installation team makes the process seamless. They're proud to be based in Cincinnati, family owned and operated by a Xavier alum. Mention this podcast and save $1,000. Visit TGEsolar.com to request your free energy evaluation today.
Your dad.
Yeah.
How big of an influence, and we'll talk about your mom and your family, but just start with your dad.
Yeah.
How big of an influence has your dad been on your basketball career?
He's been the biggest part of my basketball career, just supporting me, teaching me. He was my first coach, first teacher, first mentor. I've always wanted to outdo him. He's always wanted me to outdo him too, even though he won't say it. But no, just learning how to be a man, learning how to be a point guard in the college level. I learned from my dad, just all the stories he talked about with you, Stacy, as you know. But he taught me how to get yelled at from a coach. Don't say nothing back, just to be a man. But I think he's always pushed me to be hard. He's always given me everything I needed. If I needed something for basketball, he was quick to give it to me. Anything I needed. So he's been a huge part. He's my mentor, and I hope that I could outdo him. That's my goal.
And then talk about the rest of your family. Obviously, your mom being a huge influence as well.
Yeah,
my sister.
My mom will tell everybody that I got my athleticism from her, not my dad. She played softball at Utah State and San Diego State, and also a little bit of professional. I got an older sister who played basketball at Santa Clara. Mm-hmm. And then I got a younger sister who plays at USC. She's a freshman, and she's honestly probably the best athlete in the family. Mm-hmm. I hate to say it.
Soccer player.
She's a soccer player. Best athlete in the family. They're about to start the national tournament soon, so I'm gonna wish her some good luck. But yeah, whole family's full of athletes, so there's nothing else I could have done.
And your older sister played basketball at Santa Clara.
Yeah, she played basketball at Santa
Younger
Clara.
sister is playing, and she's a freshman at USC in the Big Ten, believe it or not.
The Big Ten,
playing soccer. So you think about the quickness, the athleticism.
Yeah.
You know, mom, college athlete, dad, stud basketball player. Some people talk about him potentially being one of the greatest players to ever play at Utah State when you look at his career and what he was able to do. And then he has two sisters in him. So I think from an athletic perspective, Roddie's family doesn't take a backseat to any.
No.
And I think he was on Team USA baseball.
Yeah,
right?
for a little bit. Baseball's just not my sport. I'm good. It's probably my best sport, like that I was like skillful at. but I just couldn't play it. I didn't love it. Love basketball more.
You landed in the right spot.
Definitely, yeah.
We're glad you did.
Roddie, the one thing I know about you, I've talked to Andy Kettler about you a lot, and Andy Kettler has no bad things to say about you, which tells me that you're doing something right here. So maybe you could talk about that process, that, you know, you're not going to play in games this year, but there's a lot of other things you can do from a body management standpoint and really getting yourself into the best shape possible. So what's that look like for you right now?
Yeah, so game days, I'll wake up and I'll hit a lift before we go through shoot around, before we go through anything. I'll hit a lift with some of the other walk-ons and scholarship players on scout team. And then I'll get a workout with either Ryan Anderson or Cam Miller. And that's like live. We got a bunch of managers playing, using ball screens, catch and shoot. They're contesting. And it's a hard hour workout. The lift's a hard hour workout. And everything with
And
Cat.
then you go through shoot around.
And then I go through
you're on the
shoot
scout
around.
team.
Yeah, we're running through plays. Sometimes it's live. So I got weights to work out to shoot around. Sometimes hit shots after shoot around, just depending on the time. But just an everyday thing is just working on my game no matter what. Because the one thing my dad told me when I was debating coming here in the portal was it's not going to be easy. You can't take a back seat to things. You got to work hard every single day. You can't take any days off. So I really took that to heart. And I've really been working super hard to get better at my shot, working on slowing down. But I think the day of the game workouts, those are kind of like my games too when we're playing live. So I'm going full speed. The manager's going full speed, and it's a great workout.
How about this? You feel like you're learning even during the game, being able to sit on the bench and kind of look at how we play and the different things that we talk about. Do you feel like that's also part of your development? Yeah,
it's a lot. You see a lot more things when you're a spectator than when you're on the court. You see how everything moves. You see how people play. You see other people's tendencies more clearly, like, because you're just watching. You don't have to think about anything else. So I think I learned how Big East refs ref. I learned the tempo of the game and stuff like that. So I'm learning every day, and it's been a blessing that I'm here, and I'm just going to continue to learn, continue to get better.
You said something interesting earlier, learning how to slow down. And I think maybe that requires a little bit more of an explanation from Coach, because like if to steal a phrase from TJ McConnell, your superpower, right, is your speed and your athleticism. But maybe you could elaborate on that for us, Coach.
Yeah, again, when you have the speed that Roddie has, it allows you to get places that sometimes other guys can't get to. And the analogy that I've used with Roddie at times, when we try to allow him to be a better decision maker, or to, like you said, slow down, is, it's like you're driving your favorite car that can go 100 miles an hour. Well, if you're, in Germany on the Autobahn, right? Is that the highway in Germany?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you let it go and you're driving 110, 120 miles an hour, and, it's a safe road, and you're looking and you can go and, wow, this engine's amazing. Well, you take that right into a city, and you have a school on your left, and, they have a school crossing and a red light, stoplight, you have traffic, you have people crossing without cars, you can't go 120. That's when the car is used in a different way. And I think for Roddie, every once in a while, it's his gift, his superpower is his speed. It allows him to get places. It allows him to play with amazing pace and make everybody around him play with that same pace. And then every once in a while, he has to channel it and slow down as if he's going through that 4-lane intersection. And it's not about how fast you go. It's now about decision making. And sometimes just taking the safe bet, jump stopping, getting rid of the ball, pulling the ball out, right? And being able to play the team game. But he's getting better in that on a weekly basis. And I think sometimes when you talk about play with pace, we play fast, at first it's like, well, just go, go, go. And then you realize, well, no, there has to be a method to it, right? We just don't want to go push the ball and shoot quick. We want to be able to push the ball with great pace and get great shots. Sometimes that great shot might be the last 10 seconds of the possession. And as a point guard, having the know-how and the understanding of when those critical times are to run the team, to slow down and make decisions, I think that's something that Roddie's gotten better at in the last 4 weeks. And I'm very confident in the next 4 months or 5 months, he'll continue to develop there.
How unique is each individual case for a guy that, everyone wants to shoot better. I'm sitting over here, I want to shoot better. But maybe my situation, what I need to work on is different than what Roddie needs to work on. What's the process like to figure out what the plan is to get it, to turn a guy into a better three-point shooter?
I'll answer it. The number one thing, and I've seen through my experience this work out different ways. You have to truly trust the people that are teaching you. It's like a golf pro. You're going to work with 3 golf pros. You're going to have a swing coach, then you have a second swing coach, you're going to have a third swing coach. They all 3 in their own right could be terrific. But all they're doing is giving you things that are working against yourself. You have to come to grips with, I believe in this place. I believe in this coach. I believe in our way of making me a better shooter. And now that I believe in it, I'm going to execute it, and I'm going to put my heart and soul and undivided attention in this way. And over time, not in 2 weeks or 2 months, but over 6 months, over 1 year, over 10,000 shots, over 20,000 shots, over 25,000 shots, I know that I'm going to improve incrementally. And I'm fine with that. That's Davion. You never had to give Davion the pep talk to believe in what we were doing. I've had guys leave me, become NBA players, and in the first 3 years of their NBA career have 2 or 3 shooting coaches. And most of the time, Adam, if not all the times in that scenario, as they enter year 3 or 4, having that many people as their shooting coaches, they're about the same as where they began. To me, the ones that really improve, they find someone they trust, a coach, a way of doing it, and they honor it, and they work at it, and they don't give in easily, and they stick with it, and they start to see their results. And as they see their results, confidence comes, and as confidence comes, they make these gains that Roddie's really after. And I only bring that up in front of Roddie because he's put his faith and trust in us, in our environment, and in our way. And he's now at the beginning stages, or towards the end of the beginning stages, of working on his craft the same way, weekly, daily. Like when you asked him about game day shoot around, in his own way, he said, that's a really hard workout for me. I'm going about as hard as I can by myself for 1 hour. At the end of that hour, that's my game. That's great to hear, because that's what we want. On game day, we want to push him to the brink, because that's the toughest time for him. He can't play in that game. In between games, it's early in the morning or between classes, before practice, after practice, and at night, to not get ahead of yourself and continue to do the same things in a systematic way so that we can chart improvement, and you start to get that technique down, and you start to improve on certain things that you can improve on. And I'm not going to speak for Roddie, but I think he's already starting to experience some of those results.
No, definitely. I think just the consistency, it gives you confidence, and that you know that this shot's going in. And if it doesn't, you shoot the next one. So that's what I've been trying to work on. Just every shot's the same. Every shot has to look the same, feel the same when it's coming off my hand. But I just think the work that Cam Miller has been working with me every day. He's free no matter what, no matter when I text him. He's always
better be, right?
Yeah, he's always down to get in the gym. So it's been a big help putting up making 300 to 500 shots a day, because I'll go before practice and then I'll go after practice as well. And I lift at 12:15 for about an hour, and then I do my shooting workout with Cam. And it's all pretty much the same. Sometimes the drills are different here and there, but everything's the same. Like the way we work on our footwork, the way we pay attention to how my hand is when I catch it, it's all the same. So just that consistency, those reps, and then also getting to have a good green light on scout team, working on live game reps with contests from Big East players has been a huge help for me. And I feel it slowly getting better, but we still got a long way.
To gain wealth over a lifetime, it's like direct deposit every month, right? It gets boring. Yeah. It gets redundant. You're like, man, I do it every month, and I know it's working, but can I get off track, maybe take some more money and go over here. And usually when that person does that, what ends up happening? They go backwards, right? You know, it's the disciplined approach over a long period of time. And shooting, improving it can be boring. Improving it can be redundant. Improving it can be frustrating when you're like, man, I've never shot more shots in my life. I do the same thing every day. And you're telling me I made the same today as I did 3 weeks ago? Yeah. That's why it's not easy to become a better shooter. And that's why it starts with what I said. Do you trust and totally believe the environment you're in? If you do, then that environment can give you the high support you need. And when it's done correctly, those same drills done in the same order, recorded and done every day over a long period of time, that investment starts to pay off. And I think that, you know, Roddie has believed in what we're doing, and he took a huge step to come here in Redshirt. And what we're going to do is surround him by the best environment we can to allow him to reach his goals, to be a better shooter. And a year from today, we look back and say the best thing that we did, both you, Roddie, and us, is we redshirted last year.
No, for sure. That was probably one of the most, probably the hardest decision I've had to make, deciding to redshirt, especially after 2 years of college, 2 years of starting. Because I've played every single game since I was probably like 5th, 6th grade, you know what I mean? But I just think that my belief in God, my trust in God has brought me here. I know that his path is what he wants for me. So I just trust him. I know that I'm here for a reason. I know that this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm just going to continue to trust him.
So I got a really important question on the heels of that. You lived in Orange County, California, for those that don't know where Orange County is. You've lived in beautiful Boise, Idaho. I've been there a couple times. And now you're in God's country, Cincinnati, Ohio.
And San Diego for a little bit.
And
San Diego.
And I'm sorry, so how could I forget San Diego? Would I be right in saying Cincinnati in terms of weather's one?
Yeah.
Best weather of those four places. Cincinnati's one.
No, I don't know about that one. It's cold. Best, I'm gonna go San Diego. Then my home, Orange County.
One, yeah, it's basically the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
1A, 1B. Boise,
Cincinnati. Now, I want you to give that some thought before you go on record here.
I haven't experienced the Cincinnati winter yet.
Right.
But
How about to this point?
To this point, I'm gonna say, I think it was snowing by now in Boise, maybe, but not right now. I don't think. But I'm gonna go Boise 3rd, and then Cincy 4th.
All right. Weather-wise, you're going 4th.
Just because what I've heard that this winter gets cold, and I'm definitely not ready.
It gets cold.
These guys from the West Coast, man, you got to toughen them up. As someone explained to me when I went to Arizona more than a decade ago, you can only be so tough when it's 75 degrees and sunny every day, Adam.
Only so tough. Yeah.
I think there's some truth to it.
I think part of the problem that you're gonna experience is it gets very gray here for an extended period of time.
Like
during
today,
the
for
winter.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be a stretch where you don't see sunlight for a decent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be new.
What that does, Roddie, is it builds character. You know, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, we're blue collar towns.
Yeah.
You know, you venture over to the west side of Cincinnati, you're going to see a world that you can only dream of. Just the toughest people that are on this face of the earth. No, but what have you come to really like about Cincinnati? Is there anything that jumps out so far?
Cincinnati, I think I like the food spots.
Great choices. Give me a couple. Give me some of your favorite ones. Go-to spots.
Hooks is my number one. It's
Hooks?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
It's like a fried chicken spot.
Okay. Where's that at?
10 minutes away, not far. That one's
You don't
my
like
favorite.
Hooks?
No, I've never been there.
Okay.
Hooks is good.
All right, Hooks. Good.
Chicken, Cincy steak and lemonade is also good. They got a big
I've heard of
variety
that.
of stuff.
Yeah.
That one's good. And I don't know.
I mean, how about Ruby Steakhouse? Man?
Ruby Steakhouse, that one's different. I've never been in that nice of a restaurant before.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean's got a whole list. He could just rattle them off, and you could really expand your horizons.
How about Skyline Chili? Is it you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I've never had it. I'm not a big chili fan though. I'm a very picky eater.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm plain, simple.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll be
I think
trying
Jerome's like that too, right?
Jerome's very much like that. Chicken fingers, fries, and a side of ranch or ketchup.
Well, we went to Jeff Ruby's. I get the burger every time.
That's right. No, you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, so everyone knows by now we're making this docuseries called All In. And, you know, it might not make the show. We're still working on it. But I got to hang out with Roddie. Mm-hmm. He drove me to hot yoga, and I filmed him. And I asked him a bunch of questions while we were driving. And the one thing that really stood out to me was I asked you about redshirting, and you gave me a very unique answer. You said, you know, I'm going to be selfish this year. I'm going to be selfish in that I'm going to take every opportunity that I can to get better. And that always stuck with me, that like how rare it is. Everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to go out there and run around on game nights. But like to be, what are you, 20 years old?
20, yeah.
Yeah. To be 20 years old and to have the awareness to say, I'm going to take this year and really get better. That just always stuck with me. Where did you get that from, do you think?
Well, just growing up, my parents always taught me just to be a good person, just to do what's right. But I think all this has happened because God has me here for a reason. I think I really needed the extra year to just develop my game, to get smarter, to get stronger, to learn how to play the game the right way, the Big East way. But yeah, the number one reason I'm here is because God has me on a path, and everything happens for a reason. But I think the selfishness part, that's just what that's what they told me, and I loved it when they told me when I was coming here that I need to take every opportunity I can, because that's the only way I'm going to get better. There was no point in me coming here if I was just going to sit back, not take reps, not play hard, and just go through the motions. So that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get better. I'm here to work for a spot. I'm fighting for a spot right now. That's what I'm working for, to show that I can play in the Big East.
Yep.
Coach.
Well, we're thrilled to have this guy. I know that. And I think, I've gotten a lot of questions like, what about Roddie Anderson? Like, why don't you put him in a game or play? And, and hopefully this episode allows everybody to understand that it was a mutual decision. Mm-hmm. We're allowed to develop Roddie academically. He's moving towards graduation, got both feet on the ground, learning our system, getting bigger and stronger, really investing in his ability to shoot the three-point shot, impacting our team by his competitive spirit and athleticism every single day. He's now on the scout team representing the other team, which gives all of us a bigger challenge. Like you had mentioned, Adam, you've witnessed that when you watch practice. And when we get to the spring, I think our shared goal is to look back and say, man, that was the best thing that could have happened both for him and for us. But we're thrilled to have him.
I always love having point guards on the show with you, Coach, because obviously we got a point guard to your left there.
I was not anywhere near as fast as this guy. If I was, I can assure you I wouldn't be sitting here as a coach. I would have made a lot more money playing.
Have you talked to Roddie about the traits and characteristics that are important for a Big East point guard in particular?
Yeah, and I think some of it too is what's cool about his situation. He's going to see with his own two eyes.
Yeah.
I don't have to describe it and hope that he believes me. He's going to witness it when he watches the different styles. Both he can travel with us, home and away, and I think he's already seen some of it. But his ability to push the ball, Davion, from baseline to baseline, is among the fastest guys that I've coached, that I've watched, how he can impact the game in a positive way by playing with great pace. And I think Roddie is even faster. I think Davion would tell you that. The other part of it is because of his athleticism, he could be in the game and play with two other point guards or one other point guard. He isn't just limited to being the one and only. Yep. His ability to guard, defend, play against bigger, stronger players. And I think we haven't talked a lot about defense, being an elite defensive stopper with his athleticism and his speed. That's something that I think that he's also going to be able to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think he kind of has that mentality to be like, I'm going to get a stop. I'm going to pick you up 94 feet,
yep,
and I'm going to make your life hard bringing this ball up the floor.
I mean, we talked about your defense at Boise. You were one of America's best defensive teams.
Yeah, and I think I fell in love with defense when I was at Boise, just because I didn't wasn't able to take the shots that I normally take. So I was like, I'm going to make defense my thing. I wasn't really, I don't know where it came from. I wasn't really a defender at UC San Diego, but something flipped, something switched. And especially when you told me the story about TJ McConnell, that has stuck with me ever since. Just that he's making a living off of defense, not turning the ball over, making plays, and knocking down open shots. So I think I love picking up 94 feet. It's one of my favorite things to do on the basketball court. There's just nothing better than picking up somebody and then the next possession they pass it away. So that's just something I love.
You know, Adam, we've heard on this show from a lot of guests, coaches and players alike, the importance of self-awareness. Self-awareness as a player. Who are you? You know, and what makes you a winning player? And it seems simple. Oh, doesn't everybody know that? But in some ways, that's a special skill as well. And I think this guy right here, being able to play with amazing pace, being an elite defender, and as he continues to develop his scoring and his shooting, you know, I think it can really all come together for him.
I couldn't agree more. We were doing a different podcast, not the Sean Miller podcast, but I was a guest on someone else's podcast, and we were talking about the team. And I said, Roddie's one of my favorite players on the team this year. And a lot of people were shocked by that because they were like, he's not going to play this year. What are you talking about? And it's like, I get to watch him in practice. I get to see how his teammates interact with him and how hard he pushes them. And what a gift you're going to be to the guys on this year's team just because of being there every day and pushing them as hard as you do. So I'm really glad we finally got to have you on the podcast.
Me too.
I really appreciate you taking the time. You got anything else for him, Coach?
No, you know, I think the real test is going to be you're going to have to put this winter coat on, walk outside in this howling wind, and you're going to have to walk in that gym and make your 300, you know?
Definitely.
And that's going to be the next element of a gift. And you said God has a plan. That no doubt's part of God's plan. He needed you to be in cold weather to really kind of take that next step.
Definitely.
Toughness-wise.
For sure.
You'll find out.
Can't wait.
Well, we appreciate everyone who's watching, listening, subscribing. We got some good episodes in the pipeline coming up here. Obviously, we're into the season now, so yeah, I think people can expect some player film rooms with Coach here and a few other cool things coming up. But as always, this has been the Sean Miller Podcast presented by Deer Park Roofing and the official payroll sponsor of the Sean Miller Podcast, Payroll Partners. Thanks again, everyone.
This has been the Sean Miller Podcast, presented by Deer Park Roofing, with your hosts, Paul Fritchner and Adam Baum. Join us again soon for another episode with the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers, Sean Miller.